The poem Enterprise by Nissim Ezekiel is a symbolic representation of a journey that begins with high hopes and enthusiasm but ends in disappointment. The poem is an extended metaphor, where the journey symbolizes human aspirations, struggles, and the eventual realization of life's realities. This video covers explanation and analysis of Enterprise by Nissim Ezekiel. Let us first talk about the title of the poem. The title of the poem, Enterprise, is very important. The word enterprise means an important project or undertaking. It suggests a difficult task that requires effort and determination. The title reflects the theme of the poem, which is the journey of life and the struggles that come with it. The journey in the poem is not just a physical journey but also a spiritual and emotional one. The poem shows how people start with high hopes but often end up feeling disappointed. Explanation of Enterprise by Nissim Ezekiel. It started as a pilgrimage, exalting minds and making all the burdens light. The second stage explored but did not test the call. The sun beat down to match our rage. The first stanza describes the beginning of the journey. The poet uses the word pilgrimage to describe this journey. A pilgrimage is a journey undertaken for a religious or spiritual purpose. It is usually associated with devotion and a desire to achieve something sacred. The poet and his fellow travelers start the journey with enthusiasm. Their minds are exalting, which means they feel uplifted and inspired. They believe that the journey will be meaningful, and this belief makes all their burdens light. This phrase means that they do not feel the weight of any difficulties because their spirits are high. In the second stage of the journey, they explore new places, but they do not question the purpose of their journey. The phrase, "did not test the call," means that they do not doubt their mission. However, the sun beats down on them, which represents the harshness of reality. The phrase, "to match our rage," suggests that their initial excitement is strong, but the heat of the sun is equally powerful, symbolizing the challenges they start to face. "We stood it very well, I thought. Observed and put down copious notes on things the peasants sold and bought. The way of serpents and of goats. 3 cities where a sage had taught." In the second stanza, the poet reflects on how well the group withstands the difficulties. The phrase, "we stood it very well," means that they are able to endure the hardships of the journey. They make observations and take notes about what they see. The mention of peasants refers to simple, rural people they encounter. The travelers observe the trade and daily activities of these people. The poet also notes the way of serpents and of goats, which suggests that they see and learn about the local wildlife or possibly the way people live their lives. Additionally, the mention of 3 cities where a sage had taught could symbolize learning or wisdom they gain along the way. A sage is a wise person, and this may suggest that they visit places of historical or philosophical importance. But when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. A shadow falls on us and grows. The third stanza introduces conflict and difficulty in the journey. Differences arise among the travelers. The phrase, "on how to cross a desert patch," symbolizes a challenging phase where they cannot agree on the way forward. Because of these disagreements, they lose a friend who had a stylish prose. This means that a talented and eloquent person, who could express ideas beautifully, leaves the group. The loss of this friend is significant because it suggests that conflicts can lead to the departure of valuable members of a group. The phrase, "a shadow falls on us and grows," indicates that a sense of gloom and sadness begins to spread among the travelers. Their once exciting journey is now marked by loss and uncertainty. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty to leave the group. I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. In the fourth stanza, the journey becomes even more difficult. The travelers face attacks twice and also lose their way. This suggests that they are encountering more obstacles, both external attacks and internal attacks of losing direction. The phrase, "a section claimed its liberty to leave the group," means that some members decide to leave because they no longer want to continue. This could symbolize how, in real life, people give up on their dreams or separate from others due to difficulties. The poet tries to pray, showing that he seeks spiritual help or guidance. Meanwhile, the leader of the group claims to smell the sea, which could mean that they are close to their destination. However, this is not confirmed, and it shows that the leader is still hopeful despite all the troubles. We noticed nothing as we went. A straggling crowd of little hope. Ignoring what the thunder meant. Deprived of common needs like soap. Some were broken, some merely bent. The fifth stanza shows that the travelers are now exhausted and disheartened. The phrase, "we noticed nothing as we went," suggests that they have become indifferent. They are no longer excited or curious about their surroundings. They have lost hope. The phrase, "a straggling crowd of little hope," means that they are now just a disorganized group without enthusiasm. The mention of thunder could symbolize warnings or dangers, but they ignore them. The fact that they are deprived of common needs like soap shows that they have lost basic necessities, making their journey even more difficult. Some travelers are broken, meaning that they have completely given up, while others are merely bent, meaning that they are still struggling but have not completely lost hope. When, finally, we reached the place, we hardly know why we were there. The trip had darkened every face. Our deeds were neither great nor rare. Home is where we have to gather grace. The final stanza reveals the ultimate realization of the journey. When they finally reach their destination, they do not feel any sense of achievement. The phrase, "we hardly know why we were there," means that they have lost the purpose of their journey. The journey has changed them, but not in the way they expected. Instead of joy or enlightenment, they feel disappointed. The phrase, "the trip had darkened every face," suggests that their experiences have made them weary and unhappy. They realize that their actions and struggles were neither great nor rare, meaning that their journey was not as special or meaningful as they had imagined. The poem ends with a significant line, "Home is where we have to gather grace." This means that, ultimately, true meaning and fulfillment are not found in external journeys, but within oneself and in one's own home. The word grace suggests inner peace, wisdom, and acceptance. The poem Enterprise is a metaphor for human ambition and struggle. It shows how people start their journeys in life with high hopes, face difficulties, lose companions, and ultimately realize that the journey itself is not as important as they once thought. The poem teaches an important lesson about self-discovery and the realization that true fulfillment often lies in the simple and familiar aspects of life. The structure of the poem, with its simple but powerful language, helps convey the sense of excitement, conflict, and eventual disillusionment. The poet uses vivid imagery, such as the sun beating down, a shadow growing, and faces darkened, to depict the physical and emotional journey of the travelers. Through this poem, Nissim Ezekiel beautifully captures the universal experience of human struggle and the search for meaning in life. Analysis of Enterprise by Nissim Ezekiel. The poem is written in 6 stanzas, and each stanza consists of 5 lines. The rhyme scheme of the poem is A-B-A-B-A. This means that the first, third, and fifth lines rhyme with each other, while the second and fourth lines rhyme separately. This rhyme scheme gives the poem a musical quality. The structure of the poem is simple, but the meaning behind it is deep. The poet uses simple words to express a complex idea. One of the main themes of the poem is idealism versus reality. At the beginning of the poem, the travelers are full of excitement and hope. They believe that their journey will be meaningful and will bring them success. However, as the journey progresses, they face many problems. Some members of the group leave, others feel exhausted, and their hopes start to fade. This reflects how, in real life, people start with dreams and ambitions, but reality is often much harder than expected. Another important theme is struggle and hardship. As the group continues on their journey, they face difficulties such as arguments, attacks, and a loss of direction. These struggles symbolize the challenges that people face in life. Sometimes, people lose their way, just like the travelers in the poem. They also experience physical hardships, such as being deprived of basic needs. This shows how, in life, people often have to sacrifice their comfort to achieve their goals. The theme of disillusionment is also very significant. Disillusionment means the feeling of disappointment when something does not turn out as expected. In the poem, when the group finally reaches their destination, they do not feel happiness or satisfaction. Instead, they wonder why they even made the journey. This represents how people often chase after success or a dream, only to realize that it does not bring them the happiness they expected. There are many important symbols in the poem. The journey itself is the most important symbol in the poem. It represents human life and the struggles people go through. Just like the travelers in the poem, people start their lives with hope and enthusiasm, but they face many difficulties along the way. The sun in the poem is also a powerful symbol. In the line, "The sun beat down to match our rage," the sun represents the challenges and hardships of life. The heat of the sun makes the journey difficult, just as real-life problems make it hard for people to achieve their dreams. The desert in the poem symbolizes difficult and lonely phases in life. The travelers argue about how to cross the desert, and in the process, they lose a friend. This shows how difficult situations can create conflict and lead to separation. The desert represents times of struggle when people feel lost or uncertain. The leader's statement that he smelled the sea is another symbolic moment. The sea is often associated with freedom and the end of a journey. However, in the poem, the travelers are too tired and discouraged to even notice it. This symbolizes how people sometimes reach their goals but feel too exhausted to appreciate their success. Finally, the return home at the end of the poem is also symbolic. The poet says, "Home is where we have to gather grace." This suggests that true happiness and fulfillment do not come from chasing distant dreams. Instead, they come from finding peace and meaning in one's own home and personal life. Conclusion. In Enterprise, Nissim Ezekiel uses a simple journey to represent a deeper truth about human life. The poem teaches us that while we may start our journey with high hopes, we must be prepared for challenges along the way. It also reminds us that success and achievement do not always bring happiness. Instead, true peace is found in appreciating what we already have. The themes of idealism versus reality, struggle, and disillusionment make this poem a powerful reflection on human life. Through symbols like the journey, the sun, and the desert, Ezekiel conveys his message in a clear and meaningful way.